What's going on? Willie J has finally caught a Screen Fiend live update. Well, for those who don't know, and you're probably sitting at home watching this video after it's already completed, this is a live update of what's going on in Hollywood and all the films and things like that. But because it's a live chat, we do give people the ample time to come in and get caught up and register and do all this stuff to get the links. There have been many, well, not with this channel. My other page, there's been plenty of people who haven't gotten their feeds. They've complained that all of this. So, but on this page, everybody gets. You get a car. You get a car. You get a car. Everybody gets a car. So we're gonna be talking about all the updates that's going on around here in the film industry, because the whole Hollywood, this whole month of July that just passed, is completely, and I do mean completely, probably one of the weakest months of July we've ever had. People are not going to see the movies. And the reason why that the movie prices have come down, because people are not repetitively going back to the films. They see them one time, maybe twice, and then they're done with the film. Many movies, people would go back. That's how they make the bulk of their money. People would go back and watch it again with friends. Oh, I got to go see that. Hey, I'll go with you, John. You're going to crack up when you see this. And all of a sudden, there's another one that pops and develops. Here that movie comes. And you're looking at a situation in which a lot of people, and like you had Transformers come out. You had Spider-Man come out. These are major films. You had the last film of the War of the Planet of the Apes. Those three came out. Those were supposed to be the three big major blockbusters. Plus the $200 million movie Valerian came out. You had these three four like big budget films, and they didn't really produce what people thought they were going to produce. Spider-Man is set to really make its money overseas. It should hit about 700 million, if not higher. But the writing is on the wall. It didn't have the replay value that many people thought it would have, with people going back to watch it again and again. Now, it had its cultural, its own world, as far as they had tons of diversity in it. Spider-Man was making out and, well, was in love with a black girl, and she was mixed, from a mixed household, and all of these, his best friend is like a Hawaiian Asian. You got the whole classroom is diverse. I said, well, this is an international movie here. This thing here is full of diversity. So now you look at the actual thing, it was less dangerous, more towards the kids, which I thought it would do way better than what it did at the movies. It was passable. It was the young Spider-Man. It was funny, but it took away out of the danger or the seriousness of it, in which you're going to start to see in the Infinity War. And it's going to kind of damage Spider-Man a little bit, because Spider-Man's a fun, joking, and it's no real threat. But when Thanos shows up, that's your first real threat. And all the playful stuff is over. It's dead serious. And I'm like, how does Spider-Man, as young as he is, fit in this situation and scenario where this is real? This is the kind of stuff that make you not want to be Spider-Man anymore. That's going to take place with Thanos. So now, as you've seen in the thumbnail, the Star Wars news. Everybody want to talk about Star Wars now, because Star Wars has a rewrite underway for Episode 9. And what they bringing in is Joe Horn. I think it's John Horn. If I'm not saying it right, please forgive me. I mess names up all the time. But what he does is his job is basically to see what Colin Trevorrow has done, go over some things that he might want to do for pointers. Now, because they have to start shooting in January, and because they're shooting in January, they're going to be going to look at different, locations, scouted. They already have these things done, but they want to make sure they got it right because Leia's not going to be in this one, and she was supposed to be in the next one. And, so rewrites had to be done if they wanted to be done the right way. Is anybody out there? I'm not seeing anyone's comments right now. Well, we're gonna really see. We hope we're going to see Snoke in this one. There's no guarantee that Snoke is gonna really get off in this one or do what we think he's going to do. We're hoping we see more of Snoke. We're gonna see him more as far as the command of Snoke. As we still probably won't have an idea of who he really is. But what we're going to do is see Snoke in his imperial stance. Man, everything seems to be coming in so late on here, like delayed broadcast. I'm getting a answer to my questions like 15 minutes later. It's like 15 minutes later, here's Johnny. Well, we don't know who's playing Wolverine yet, but Hugh Jackman is done playing Wolverine so far, what we know. A black James Bond? I think we've had those type of movies before. Our black James Bond basically was Shaft. We had Shaft. We had Alex Cross. We had Morgan Freeman play Alex Cross. Then we had um, Alex Cross played by Tyler Perry, and people just don't relate him to that character. Will there be a great Gambit movie? The problem with Gambit is the fact that he didn't. He was a standoff, great comic book character in the act of being with the X-Men. When they brought him into that Wolverine movie, they wanted to try him out, and unfortunately, they used it Taylor Klitsch, and that was just a bad idea. Dynamite, 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 dynamite. Black Dynamite. I could watch Black Dynamite all day long. White folks can't. They don't understand Black Dynamite at all. I watch Black Dynamite and crack up because they joke about it, but a lot of things they talked about in the movie was real. A lot of stuff was real. Cold Kansas, all that stuff. You missed that Star Wars Episode 9 is being rewritten, Tevin. They're rewriting Star Wars because of the simple fact they want to. Princess Leia is not going to be in the film anymore, so what they're going to actually do now is, since she's not going to be in the film, they're going to make sure, even Colin Trevorrow, whatever, he's the script he's got. Joe Horn or John Horn is going to go over the script to make sure it's done right and add his little pointers. It's nothing major. It's not a complete rewrite of the script. They just want to make sure that they have it right because they got to start shooting in January because they have a May release in 2019 instead of December of that year. They coming out in May now. So now that they're coming out in May, they have to make sure that they have everything they got in a row. What question was that? The Batan's party back. The movie buff man is back again. Yes, Star Wars has a rewrite going on, but it's not a rewrite like what you think. They're gonna keep the same thing Colin Trevorrow wrote. They just got John Horn's gonna go over everything, and he did the. He's known for this movie called Water. He written. I don't think it's out yet. I saw this awful movie called Kidnap with Haley Berry or Holly Berry, however you want to pronounce it. It is it. Wow. I'm like, how am I in this movie watching this in this theater watching this film? Yes, it was the 911 movie all over again. They probably used a lot of it for this film. I haven't done a movie review to it yet, but my goodness, this movie got so many flaws. and you'll see why. Because this movie was done 4 years ago. This movie was done 4 years ago, and you can tell it had problems coming out. It bankrupted the entire company that produced the film. Another film company just finally bought it, and now they're gonna put it out. This is like a made-to-video type movie. It's really that bad. And you're like, this is so stupid. The movie's got like a message about human trafficking and all this stuff. This movie is like all over the place. It's supposed to come out every year. It was supposed to come out. It's like July has turned into a whole different type of realm of movies. Like the shark movie that came out 47 meters, it was already set for video release. And the new company that bought it decided, let's throw it out in the movies. So they just threw it out in the movies and changed the title to 47 meters. It was called like All the Way Down or Down in the Deep. They changed it to like 47 meters and made it like a Jaws movie. And it actually worked for them. They made some money. Yeah, the only thing cool about going to these premieres is you get all these like props they have. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, when they came out, all the good prop stuff you got a certificate to download the actual comic book one of Guardians of the Galaxy. You got little pins. You got all the goodies. I got 2 buckets of Guardians of the Galaxy. I got a little miniature poster board. They went all out. And that's how you have great, that's when you have great it's not just merchandising, when you have good replay value or connecting with the fans. The fans love that movie because what works is music. When you put a good music or a good music soundtrack in a movie, people will go and watch it. That's what made Guardians of the Galaxy stand out from 1 and 2. It had a great storyline. It was very emotional. It had something to do with the loss of his mother. Oh, Jaws for the Revenge. I used to like that as a kid. Not now. Jaws for the Revenge is just so hilariously bad. You got Mario Van Peebles trying to play a Jamaican guy, and he's just hilarious. None of this makes sense. They got a grant to do one thing. Now they want to study why there's a shark way out in warm water. It's like, what is he doing out there? Shark is gonna travel all the way and follow them. He just know they out there. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, this shark just gonna pop up and just start with just the weirdest behavior ever from a shark. I mean, it didn't even make sense. And then they had him like stalking him through an old ship, the other son. I'm like, what is this? He finally got the other son, and I'm like, how many Jaws is they gonna keep sending? It was like they went through Jaws' whole family. I was like, if I was them, I'd be like, look, we gotta investigate the waters to find out where does these crazy extra large sharks coming from? Because Jaws wasn't a natural great white. That type of great white was like 30,000 feet long, strong as an ox. But at least in Piranha 3D, you knew what you were going to get. You knew what you were going to get with Piranha 3D. You can go watch either one of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. In here, but in this Star Wars film that's coming up, we should be able to see what's gonna happen in the throne room and be able to see General Snoke for the first time. I mean, Supreme Leader Snoke. Star Star Wars fans will kill you if you say these things wrong. Supreme Leader Snoke. The movie theater is charging $44? And Regal? That's crack prices. I mean, somebody getting a bag of crack or dope for that? See, this is the problem what's going on with Hollywood right now. You want me to tell you why Kidnap is out right now? Kidnap is coming out right now because they're seeing a big surge for female action heroes. It's a whole feminist movement that's going on. So they're like, look, we got a feminist movie with Halle Berry. Everybody like feminist movie. Here we go. Roll it out. So that's all. That's the main reason you're seeing that. Now it's for Star Wars Episode 8. People in Star Wars Episode 8 are looking at a whole different type of situation. This is more about the rise and the darkness of the New Order. Because people seem to forget. They wiped out the entire the total rebellion. I mean, almost. The Republic is gone. They wiped out the Republic. So that's a very major factor and a major blow, using the weapon to wipe out the Republic. Because now that the Republic is wiped out, you are now basically you're in the open. You're in the clear. So when you're in the clear now, it's like, okay, they don't have a Republic to back them up. We could do what we want to do. So you're going to see a whole different scenario, a whole different shift. You're going to see a difference. This Star Wars will be shot entirely different. And this is done from a very big standpoint of a fan. This man is a fan of Star Wars, and he's not going to screw it up. You're going to see some hierarchies in society where you don't really see too much interaction with other people trying to live their lives. Then boom, the First Order is going to attack. They're going to start blowing things up, making things very uncomfortable around the galaxy because they can. They're the First Order. And General Hux will probably be killed within the first couple of minutes. He'll probably be wiped out. Star Wars has always been that staple for us. No. This is the last film of Carrie Fisher's whole role as Princess Leia. So I was very happy to see that. To answer your question, I was very happy to see that. The best rumor I had about this one is that Snoke is going to use his powers to turn Rey to the dark side. That he has a power with the Force to blind and make them see things that are not necessarily true. And the fact that he uses his powers on Kylo Ren to make him hear Darth Vader's voice, as to say Vader is pulling him to the dark side. He uses key elements in their mind and their memories against them to pull them to the dark side. Then Kylo Ren will end up teaming up with Rey and going back to the light, and like they would have to fight Snoke. Now, the only thing is, Luke Skywalker was supposed to die in episode 8. Luke was supposed to die in 8. And then Rey and the rest of it would continue on. Now that Leia was never going to die, she was the one that was going to survive all of this. Now that Leia is not going to be in 9 at all when she was supposed to be in 9 before she passed, now Luke might survive and might just die in 9 instead of 8. We don't know. No, he doesn't believe in the Jedi Order anymore. He doesn't believe in the Sith Order anymore. The Sith is not really ran by Snoke. They're not. The Sith was the part of the Order. They still on the dark side. The Sith was just their union. See, Snoke is more into the dark side of the Force, but it doesn't mean he's a Sith. Have you noticed that no one has mentioned the word Sith in the episode that you just saw? No one's mentioning the Sith. Have you noticed that they're on the dark side and their eyes are not completely yellow? The Sith becomes so absorbent of the dark side that it rots and feeds on their soul and they live in Force, which turns their eyes yellow. Some people's eyes are permanently yellow. They're so far with the dark side of the Force, as you saw with, as we saw with uh, Darth Sidious or Darth Maul. They can't bring their eyes back to normal. Where Kylo Ren, he has a balance of light and dark, so his eyes don't go. He hasn't went all the way to the dark side, to where his eyes turn like the Sith, because they don't focus on that. And what this movie focused on, and as you can see from the poster board, where they show the red and they show the blue at the bottom, and they focus the light on in between that white gray area. That's where these three movies are based on. The gray area. That's why if you listen to the audio in the beginning, when he asks Rey what she see, and she says, I see the light and I see the dark and I see the balance. And he's like, oh, it's so much more than that. Because he's looking beyond that. In that middle, it's like a portal or opening that opens up everything else to a whole nother realm of the force. Because you'll need the dark side and the light to have the complete knowledge of the force. That's what the journal of the wheels are. The Jedi's, what they did was, it's like people who found the Bible. They excluded things out of the Bible that they didn't like or didn't want and said, this is our book and we're going to make our own religion around it. We're the Christians of Latter-day Saints. Saints. And other people will be like, we're Jehovah's Witness. But they all read from the same book, basically. But what Luke is doing is going off of the book. There were certain things in the book the Jedi's forbid because they're like, oh, that leads to the dark side. We're not doing this and this. In the book, then in Luke's is not. They've never been allowed to see these books. Now, when he sees these books, who's Poe Dameron is how he got the books. Poe Dameron's family, the Dameron's family, Luke know them. So that's they had the Journal of the Wheels. No. There can be more than two Siths at a time. They chose to be and come up with this order because we're a master and an apprentice. Because they were just too killing each other and fighting all the time. So they had to come up with a system for training. They had to have one master and one apprentice because they would go nuts killing each other. The Sith were uncontrollable. Have you noticed every Sith there was that was powerful killed their master? I try to give out facts. That's why it's always one master. Yes, in this film, we should see Luke use his repel force. Luke's going to be able to touch the ground and use his repel force to throw out. We've never seen Luke use any powers before that were different than anybody else, but now he's supposed to be so powerful that he could use the repel force. And if you watch the opening parts of the trailer, the teaser trailer, it looked like he's teaching Rey how to use the repel force. While she's got her hand on the ground, she's actually levitating and bringing up rocks. And it's like he's teaching her how to use the force that way as a weapon to repel. So she's going to be learning from Luke that's a master at this. But what Luke has learned is that this whole Jedi thing, and she's basically going to save Luke. Her, even though she's so excited to meet Luke Skywalker because she's only heard about him through legend, that she didn't even know he was real. So she found out that the person that she was like, wow, these legends and these stories, that he's actually real. And she's so excited to meet him that when she meets him, he's this broken down old man who's pessimistic and don't want to do anything. It's like how you meet your heroes, they can disappoint you. That's how she meets Luke. And when he's in the cave, like, all I know is the Jedi's must end. He don't want to be a hero no more. Luke doesn't want to be a hero no more. Yeah, after having his temple burnt down, after seeing Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren do what they did, Well, Kylo Ren is going to be more ruthless in this one. You know, he was kind of like a boy who was struggling with his emotions. Now they saying he's going to be more sinister, more ruthless. Now that Snoke is going to complete his training. What I didn't like in the last Star Wars was the fact that the fight scene with the lightsaber was a little weak. There was no real choreography at all in those lightsaber battles. And I'm like, how could Kylo Ren, who was a Jedi Knight, you know, was almost on a Jedi, he probably was learning, how in the world was he beaten by somebody who's never held a lightsaber before in her life until just now? And I'm like, Finn actually got a. I mean, I know they're gonna say, well, he got shot. He should have never been shot. One anyway, with Chewie with the crossbow, he should have never been shot. But when he was shot, still, they're trying to say he was limited in what he could do because he was shot. He still had force ability. And he threw Rey into a tree. But why wouldn't he throw Finn? Finn had no force ability. He could have just, at least his is not awake yet. See, here's a Star Wars secret you guys really didn't know. The first film was rewritten all while they were shooting it. There are scenes that you've never seen that was in that Star Wars film that they shot that you're like, what is this? It turns it into a whole nother movie. Because what they did was the misdirection. They were going to make this all about Finn. That was Finn is the new Jedi. Finn is this. It was written this way. But the story was leaked out to the press and the public. And they were like, oh, man, shit, we got a new Jedi. It's Finn. He's the new Jedi Knight. So they knew when they made the rewrites, because they knew all along that they were going to make Rey the star. I had did a video telling you all what they were going to do. They put all the promotion into Finn holding the lightsaber. And I said, nope. Rey's gonna be the one. That's why she is the one that's in the middle. Even with her stick and rod, I'm like, they want you to focus on Rey, that character, because she's the one that's gonna grow. And there's gonna be an awakening. But the awakening really was Finn. They did script changes to change that around. But the awakening was Finn. He felt Finn's force ability. When Kylo Ren was walking, he stopped and he turned around and looked at Finn. He felt the conflict in him. And that's what he felt. You don't understand. This is not a spoiler, King Noble. This is from the last Star Wars movie we're talking about. If you haven't seen the last Star Wars movie by now, you should be slapping yourself. We're talking about that film. Well, Star Wars have over a $200 million budget. You're looking at $100 million on marketing, and then the rest is what it takes to film it. So you're looking at probably like 239 million to film it. But you're looking at films that's gonna gross $1 billion in revenue. You see, here's the problem. George Lucas in Attack of the Clones, which is the worst Star Wars movie ever made. Um, Attack of the Clones Part 2. And the thing was, it was written very well. Like the book, it was written well. They just stuck to the book, it'd have been fine. It was how they shot the film. It was so much that needed to be told in so much period of time. They didn't have, in that 2 hour span, it was a lot to explain. Because she was a young queen. When she was Queen Amidala, she was about what, 16 years old? Maybe, if that. They tried to say she was at least 14, 15, and he was 10. When they start telling the story of Anakin, Anakin was 10. So he was 10 years old. The next time they see him is almost like, what, 10 years later? He's 20 years old. He's like 20 years later, and she's like 24, and he's 20. So they're trying to give you, like, the scale difference isn't that bad. But when you see it in the beginning, it don't make sense, because you look at Natalie Portman as Padme, and you look at Anakin as this little bitty kid, and you're like, he's gonna be hitting that? He's a little baby. She's robbing the cradle. It didn't look right. So when you see it at that level, it don't look right. So now when you go to episode 2 and they gonna fall in love, the chemistry just, it was like, I haven't seen you in a while, and you've grown up, and she's just like, woo, he's sexy. You know, it's like, oh my God, I feel uncomfortable doing this. And I'm sorry, my lady. Hi, my lady. All right, my lady. I'm like, what is this? This is terrible. As far as the dialogue and the leading up to it. George Lucas do not know how to really write chemistry. See, episode 2, Empire Strikes Back, was directed the right way. Certain scenes were shot the right way. It was redone over and over till it was right. Well, episode 2 didn't have a finale to really kick everything off. They had to like zip through the romance, and they just had to fall in love within like 2 hours. And it's like they just met each other again. Like they haven't seen each other in like 10 years. And they've been around each other for 2 weeks, and now she's like, I'm in love with you forever. Even though since you've been back, I'm in love. I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. If you didn't like The Empire Strikes Back, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you're just new age and you just don't understand it. But the significance of that film being told in the time frame it was something next of incredible. Well, yeah, you're 16, so you wouldn't understand the significance of Luke. No, I am your father. Whoa! That's his father! Everybody thought Obi-Wan was his dad. You know, everybody just assumed Obi-Wan was his father. Like, that's how I know Star Wars, this whole thing is really a retelling of the first one. The last one, The Force Awakens, is almost identical to the first Star Wars ever made. Episode 4. You got Force Awakens is like a modern version of what happened in A New Hope. I mean, Obi-Wan died in that one. Han died in this one. They blew up the Death Star. This one, they blew up Starkiller Base, which was a much bigger Death Star. You know, it's the same way student pupil is coming in from the sands and the dirt, and now they're thrown into this whole nother universe, forced to save the galaxy. You know, same scenario. Now the Empire Strikes Back, for you that's 16 years old, you not may not understand that, but no movie ended at that time where the bad guys won. The bad guys won in Empire Strikes Back. That never happens in movies. The good guy will come back in the end and it'll be an ending. He gets the queen. There was no happiness in episodes. Empire Strikes Back. The people didn't leave the theater because they didn't believe the movie was over. They were like, that's it? Oh my God. The bad guys won. The bad guys won. Luke lost his hand. Han's in frozen in ice. He going to Jabba the Hutt. Credits are rolling. They just escaped. And that was it. Lived to fight another day. Luke then lost his hand. He all messed up. Everybody like, what kind of ending is this? See, that it had never happened before. So you seen something that happened that infected the entire globe. That's why the scale was so high for that one. No one had ever seen this stuff. So it is all automatically never going to be topped by any other movie to come out because of what it accomplished when it came out. Oh yeah, I mean, like the sound with the parts in there, all the iconic dialogue for Darth Vader and definitely Han Solo, the rebel. The movie was more about Han. See, the movie was more about Han Solo than it was Luke. Luke was just a thumbnail tack. He was mostly off training, trying to learn something. It was about Han Solo and his whole relationship with Leia. See, their chemistry was developed the right way. They were around each other all this time. We didn't see them. So you could believe they had chemistry going back and forth of her liking him because they saw each other all this time ever since episode 1. I mean 4 to 5. So when they were on the ship and he was just like, look, you're afraid to tell me how you really feel about me. You know, his arrogance it wasn't about how he felt about her. It was about, look, you know how you feel about me. He was still a scoundrel. Like when she was like, I love you. I know. Once he did that, they did like 25 different takes of him saying, I love you too. I love you back. And that's what George Lucas wrote. George Lucas wrote that down and said, I love you too. And it just didn't sound right. And Harrison Ford, like, I couldn't see Han Solo saying something like that. And on the last take, she said, I love you. And he said, I know. And they kept it. They say, that's it. Cut it. We taking that one. And that has become one of the biggest icon lines in film history. Like, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. From Gone with the Wind, that line is up there right next to it. And plus, he had hit it in real life. Harrison Ford hit Carrie Fisher in real life. So, on the set. So that made the chemistry real. Harrison Ford, when he was married and everything, he's like, look, I'm finna make this movie. I'm definitely finna go all in. Yeah, she lost her virginity to what's his name, Gareth Dunn. That was her makeout guy. They lost their virginity together. If you don't know who that is, he was the guy Madonna was kissing on and in the movie Who's That Girl? And then he was in Johnny Dangerously. He played Johnny Dangerously brother, Michael Keaton. Bringing in Count Dooku was a way. I think they rushed that. Count Dooku, the character of Count Dooku and everything else, that was good. He could have been another additional character. They killed off Darth Maul too soon. But what they were thinking, and what Lucas also was thinking at this point, is merchandising. And that when you put merchandising over story, like we got to have a lot of action figures. People are going to go out and buy these figures. We need to have this and this and this, all these set designs. When you start thinking that over story, it kills a lot. It kills a lot of everything. Episode 2 isn't crap. It just had bad chemistry. And when I mean bad chemistry, that relationship with those two, it's like none of this would have developed that fast. They had just seen each other for the first time in 10 years. Initial crush, yes. But that I love you to death thing, no. They had better chemistry in episode 3. But then she was like excluded a lot of, she was basically isolated and stayed in a room by herself crying through the entire episode 3. My lady. So yeah, she was like out the picture. Well, yeah, if you listen to the animated series actually kept Darth Maul alive, and that was very dumb. Him using some parts to keep his legs going and all that. I'm just like, no, that's ridiculous. And having his brother come in and all this stuff, I'm like, and they going back fighting Obi-Wan again. I mean, that's a fan trying to fix the mistakes they did by killing Darth Maul too soon. I mean, they could have wounded Darth Maul. Hayden Christensen was a green actor. He didn't have a lot of experience. And plus, the writing was terrible. The dialogue for episode 2. I hate him. He's holding me back. He's so grumpy. Who uses grumpy? I'm like, who's writing this? A 10-year-old? He's always so grumpy. I'm like, grumpy? Who wrote that? Like this the Seven Dwarfs? That's the last time I heard grumpy. Well, Chiwetel is playing Scar in the new one. Will Smith is in it. The Milan was supposed to come out first. Disney's doing all the live action movies ever since the Jungle Book. They got Milan coming. I had a whole list of all the actors that's gonna lead these films. Well, yes, after watching what happened in episode 2, um, and they really don't talk about it, but the book kind of explains how they was torturing the his mom and all this stuff, and he saw the damage they had done to his mom and how she was beaten, raped, and all kind of stuff that they did to her, the Sand People. That he went off, and he actually like they tried to have Qui-Gon appear to him, in front of him like an image with the Force, and talk to him. But through his rage, he couldn't see Qui-Gon. And Qui-Gon, that's why you hear his voice, Anakin, no! In the film, but in the actual book, he's actually still talking to him and yelling. And he appears right in front of him. He's so mad with rage, he slices through the image and slices one of the jungle people or whatever, the sand people, cut them in half, uses the Force ability to raise up the rock and crush. Like it was a giant rock. He used that to pick it up and threw it and crushed like half of these other people. Like smashed them with a rock. And that's why Yoda sensed it. Young Skywalker, he's in pain. Lots of pain. That's why what you didn't see also from 2 to episode 3 is because of that action. Him and Yoda have private meetings, like therapy sessions, where they have to talk. That's why he goes to Yoda when he has a vision, because he actually has to have these therapeutic meetings with Yoda after every mission now, ever since that incident that happened out there with the Sand People. And then if you watch episode 4, that's why the Sand People are so afraid of the Jedi. When he threw the hood over his head, when you first see Obi-Wan appear, when Luke gets knocked out and they was getting ready to robbing his ship and stuff, then next thing you know, here comes Obi-Wan with the hood on his head. Woo! Woo! And they see him and they leave. Because they like, oh, snap. They remember back when they whole generation was almost wiped out by Anakin Skywalker. A Jedi who went crazy. So they see somebody in a cloaked hood coming towards them, they break. They get up out of there. So that's how those two connect. Yeah, they was going to get more people and come back in numbers. The Sand People. They'll be back soon and with numbers. They coming back. Like, well, we leaving, but we coming back with a squad. Squad of hitters. In the books, it made more sense that they had twins. But that would make the story very cheesy because she would have been able to sense that Han was her father. Kylo Ren would have been able to sense that that was his sister. What he's going to sense is the fact that she has the Force, just like him. Now, what's going to be a bigger part of the story is if what's going on with Finn. Because Finn does have Force abilities. He has a lot of impressive things going on with him in the Force. And I'm thinking, and mostly, you got to remember, the warriors that they all selected, they stole these children. They kidnapped them instead of getting a clone army. They lost a lot of their clones and a lot of their troops during the explosion of the Death Star. So most of their troops were gone. So they spent the past years taking kids instead of developing a new clone army. Because that's when Kylo Ren was like, well, maybe General Snoke should go back to the clone army the way your guys been handling things around here. When he tells that to Snoke, I mean to the general, that they should probably go back to a clone army. Now, when you look at the facts of, let me see, when they got him, they got him very young. He could be related, or a lot of people think it's a ripoff, but he could be related to Samuel Jackson, Mace Windu. He could be a child of Mace Windu. He might be somewhere related to Mace Windu. We never know. See, Mace Windu was a different type of Jedi. He was somebody who was a Jedi, but was conflicted with dark side tendencies. That's why he never made it he was a master Jedi. But he was able to mask and hide and use his anger without tempting to go to the dark side. That's why he was so strong enough to be into a lightsaber deal. Exactly. But his instincts, he was the first one to sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. He was the first person to sense it. Not even Yoda sensed it. Why? Because Yoda, his whole thing is to protect the covenant of the order of the Jedi. Okay, he's the Pope. So no matter what's going on around there, the Pope gonna make sure everybody follows code. We must follow the structure. Remember, Yoda didn't care about this prophecy. He really didn't care about the prophecy of the one coming. He looking like, look, I'm not worried about no balance of the Force. I'm worried about the Jedis. And we got to keep this thing rolling. Forget all that prophecy. But they say the prophecy, the one that, yeah, whatever. That's stuff that we ain't supposed to ever run into. Okay, maybe we misread the prophecy. You ever thought about that? Look, that's like if Jesus come back here now. And it was like, look, we found Jesus. And they be like, look, man. We've been doing great. Let's keep the show rolling. We don't want to hear about no prophecies, none of that. The chosen one he may be. But, look, he's too young to be trained. That's the way the rules go. It's like, wait a minute. What you mean the rules? This is the chosen one. And that's why Qui-Gon always was fighting with them, because some of the rules they had didn't make no sense. He was like, wait a minute, this don't make any sense around here. And he was always fighting. That's why he was still a Jedi. Well, when he was supposed to be a master Jedi. Him and Count Dooku, who trained him, who spoke very highly of him, they both had different opinions when it came to how the Jedi was running things. They were just like, man, there's a lot of questionable things going on around here. See, the Jedi is not as good as you think. They full of it too. Yeah, you're going to see that once you saw the book for the Journey of the Wills, you're going to start to see more and more of this talk about the gray area. I don't know if they might use the frame gray Jedi, but that's where they're leaning towards. That gray area. They only have these 3 movies planned. And then after that, they're going to make a decision if they're going to keep going with the story. Which they will. Because Disney's involved. Disney, if they're going to make all those pirate movies, you think they're going to stop with Star Wars? No. They'll keep it going. But they did do something smart and get Lucas out of the way. Lucas had to go. But Rian Johnson is the perfect director for this film. He will not mess it up. Because he cares. He cares so much that he would refuse to ruin the legacy of Star Wars. You see, I think I told you guys before, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Luke Skywalker was not very fond of J.J. Abrams and J.J.'s vision. While they were making the last one, episode 7, there was a problem. J.J. Abrams don't like to be challenged. You can give him ideas, but he doesn't really like to be challenged. That is correct. I'm glad you remember. You was here for the live chat. He doesn't like to be challenged while he's on the film sets. He don't like to be challenged while he's making decisions. We do not need a spinoff of R2-D2 and C-3PO. Now, here is the reasons why, for those who just showed up. The reasons why they had conflict is because Luke likes to give background to his character. Like with Luke, he wants to say, okay, what was Luke doing for all this time while he was gone? I need to have this in my mind of what Luke is going to do. And Luke was supposed to show up in the first half of the film. They were supposed to find Luke, and Luke was going to take them on the missions with them. That's how the script was originally done. When they first had done the script, that was the first draft. They're going to meet Luke halfway through the movie, pick Luke up, and rescue Luke. Next thing you know, here we are. The whole key was not about some microchip. It was about the lightsaber itself. They found the lightsaber, and the lightsaber is going to lead them to where Luke is. And the First Order was looking for the lightsaber. So now, that lightsaber ended up being Maz Kanata and all this. That came later in the script. Luke, they met him halfway in the film, and they stopped that, and they erased that because of the simple fact is they said, well, if we bring Luke in too soon in this movie, people will forget about Rey and everybody else, and everybody be so caught with Luke, they're going to forget the story. But that was what they just told you. It makes sense, but I understand what they were saying, but you got to understand, there was a lot of arguing about what to do on this film. And JJ don't like that. That's why JJ's out. You think JJ just would get out of a Star Wars movie? He don't know. He don't like the pressure that comes with a Star Wars film. I mean, you injured Han Solo. The man had to get paid like $1 billion for his injury. That they broke his leg with a prop. They had to stop shooting for a while. This man injured Han Solo. I'm like, you injured Han Solo? You know you better get out of there. So JJ is the type that don't want to take too many risks. He don't want to screw it up. So he said, you know what? I'm going to just keep it as basic as possible without screwing nothing up, and I'm getting out. What worked in episode 4, we're going to do it again. And I'm out. So, yeah, he's a producer role. He can't deal with pressure. He can't deal with changing something new. Because every time he tried that, if he did something wrong, that's his career. And he had too much pressure on his hands. So, here's the problem. They were going to bring Luke in the middle of episode 7. They were going to pick him up, and Luke was going to be doing the one to battle Kylo Ren and all of these things. That was what made sense. So when they changed it and went back to the, no, we don't want to do that because if we bring Luke in too early, people won't identify with Rey and Finn and all of this stuff. And Luke just like, that's crazy. They would, because they gonna continue on. Because Luke was gonna fight, and with Kylo Ren, there was gonna be another episode where he comes in episode 7, and they were gonna continue the battle. That whole thing about Kylo surviving because the Earth split and everything else, Luke caused that split. When Luke punches the ground and uses the Force, it causes the planet to split. And Kylo was on one side and Luke was on the other side. And Kylo was there bandaged and cut up, and Luke was standing with one side with his lightsaber. And that was the thing that saved him. And that's how they ended up coming to part 7. That's why Luke said it did not make sense what they came up with. Because it's like, okay, why would when Han dying, it was supposed to be Luke up there in the original script. But then they changed it. Now they got Rey and Finn watching Han die. And it's like, okay, Rey and Finn watching Han die. They just met Han like 5-10 minutes ago. What connection do they really have with Han Solo dying? It's an impactful moment. Chewie being there, yes. Luke supposed to be there, yes. Rey and Finn? What connection did they have with Han Solo to where it's going to affect them so much? Where they're like, no! It's devastating to them. It's more heartbreaking to Luke, to Han, or to Chewie. To Luke and Chewie, because they've been through all these missions with this guy. They're going to be mostly the ones affected. So now when they go out to battle, when he's battling Finn and all this and battling Rey, and he goes and picks up the lightsaber, it was supposed to pop out of the snow and go in the hands of Luke Skywalker. That's when Luke's supposed to come in and do his thing and get down. Now, that was all changed. But the way it was shot and where he saw it at the end, where Luke says absolutely nothing, and he's just sitting there, and the way she brings him the lightsaber and the way it came out, and Luke didn't have any words of dialogue in the film whatsoever, because J.J. Abrams did not just want to shoot Luke Skywalker, period. Mark Hamill, he's like, I just can't deal with Mark Hamill. I can't deal with him. We're going to just have you come in. You're not going to do nothing. You're going to just, no words, no nothing. You're just going to come in. You'll have a new director for the next one. I'm out. Can't deal with Mark Hamill. But you can't have a movie without him. So now, he liked it. Mark Hamill was like, oh, I like the way the ending was. It was like a cliffhanger. I'm on a cliff, it's hanging. So if it's J.J. Abrams or Luke Skywalker, I think we're gonna choose Luke every second of the way. Let me drill this thing out of the wall. Excellent. Bam. Oh, that's perfect. Look at me. Man, I'm good. All right, hold on. Let me show my ninja skills here. Or my skills with me with the drill. Uh-oh. Oh, great. I just screwed up. See, I was celebrating too early. My Jedi skills have screwed this up because this is crooked. This sucks. It took 4 seconds to do this the right way. Okay, there we go. You are correct. Luke was the best Joker. He gave an identity to the Joker no one had ever seen before. Excellent. 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 All right. It's not that bad. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Okay. Benicio del Toro. Now, Benicio del Toro, he's the guy that's going to be the question mark. Because they got him, and I think he's going to be related to Boba Fett. He's going to be like the son of Boba Fett. And he may have force abilities. That's what I think is going to happen. Right now, he's playing some character that's off base. They gave him a name. Normally in Star Wars, characters don't stay the same. A lot of people believe they're going to bring in Rebels. Oh yeah, Mask of the Phantom is great. Because he brought the comic book Joker to life. He gave voice to the comic book Joker that we've all grown to love. You know, that comic book Joker, that laugh. He created that laugh. And his were different. It wasn't the same laugh all over the time. He'll have a real joyous one and he'll have a dark one. But it gave, every time you read a Joker comic now, and you're reading the words, you think Mark Hamill. You don't think Heath Ledger. You don't think any different Joker. Well, you got to look at the very first Joker, the comic book Joker, Cesar Romero Joker. He was a practical Joker. That was his thing. Practical jokes. Let's look at all the. No, it wasn't Bebop Cowboy. That Joker is the dark. That's the Joker you see towards the end of it. After he's been in Arkham. See, the Jokers you've been seeing is the Jokers that's been in film. It's the ones before he been in Arkham. See, they were giving him shock therapy, trying to cure him, and giving him all these different types of torture while he was in Arkham. So the Joker you see now that's on the streets is the one that before Arkham. You see, you got to look at it. Like I told you, the first Cesar Romero Joker, he was a practical joker. That was his thing, practical jokes. Jack Nicholson, When Jack Nicholson played the Joker, he was a homicidal maniac. He just loved killing. Then you look at Heath Ledger's Joker. His Joker was a pyromaniac. He just loved to burn things and see things blow up. Then you go to Jared Leto's Joker, which is the darker one. And his obsession is power and knives. Love knives. He was just a psychopath. A clear psychopath. See, the Joker, if you didn't read the comics, the Joker was all about knives. That's why you see Heath Ledger character slightly talk about it. That's why I love cutting. So you get to really see what's going on in there. That's why I use knives. Because that's what the Joker was about. The Joker was about knives. He really wasn't about guns. Yeah, he used a gun every now and then, but the Joker thing was knives. He liked to cut. Well, DC is they're doing the right thing now. They're saying we're going to take from Marvel movies and make our movie. The Wonder Woman movie is nothing but Captain America, the first soldier. That's Wonder Woman. It's a period piece way back in wartime, just like Captain America. She comes in there. She's got her guy Steve, which played by a guy named Chris. They both fly in a plane full of chemicals or something finna blow up everything. Captain America gets stuck in ice in the plane, crashing it in the waters or whatever, in the ice. And he gets blown up, flying into space or flying in the air. You know, you had all the scenes the same way. One guy turned out to be having a super scientist that's working on everything. She had the Dr. Poison or whatever her name was, coming up with all these things that's for her the general. And sure enough, they had the other doctor in there coming up with stuff for Red Skull. So it's Captain America all over again. Oh, she gave him something to make him believe he was on some PCP. That was some new advanced PCP right there. I know Future knew what that was. Future be, hey, that Molly Percocet. That Molly Percocet. Percocet. He thought he was Aries or something. When he was fighting, he didn't know what he did. Like, who are you? What I do to you? Let me sniff my stuff and I ain't gonna care. Then he just started fighting her back. You know, making him think he was Aries. Shoot, Future probably trying to get his hands on that right now. I'm on that Wonder Woman. I'm on that Wonder Woman. Woo, Wonder Woman. Yeah, on that Wonder Woman. I'm charged up off that Wonder Woman. If Red Skull comes back for the Infinity War, that would be great. They were supposed to bring Red Skull back. The problem is a lot of people weren't impressed with the Red Skull character. I thought he did a great job as Red Skull. And they made that one without a big budget, and it was perfect. Yeah, he's in the Tesseracts. He used the Tesseracts. He went in there. There's no telling where he is. He's probably on some planet in prison. Yes, Thor 2 is the worst Marvel movie made. Now, what's going to happen is, in all reality, they're going to take Oh yes, because now they can insert the scrolls into the movie. The scrolls could mess everything up. Timelines. Uh, Nick Cage could end up being a scroll the whole time, and we didn't know it. I mean, it's a whole mess of stuff they could do with scrolls. You see, the thing is, and I'm gonna talk about this real quick, but the Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok. Let's talk about that. The reason why you won't see a Hulk film is because there's no need for a Hulk film when you got Thor. They could put Hulk in the movie with Thor. You're going to have two movies. You're going to have Thor and Planet Hulk mixed together. So what this movie is going to be is partial Planet Hulk and partial Thor. Yep, and it's called Thor Ragnarok. Ed Norton is a great actor. And when you're a great actor, you have a little psychosis that come along with you. And he has a personality flaw with people that rubs people the wrong way. And he wanted a raise. You know, he's like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want a raise. And they're like, raise? Okay, raise your butt out of here. We're going to get a whole new Hulk. And he was like, wait a minute, this was negotiations, I thought. Oh, no, you thought wrong. Raise your butt out of here. We're going to get a whole new Hulk. I was thinking about a new Hulk anyway. And now you didn't ask for a raise. You're out. He was like, ain't that something? So he was like, look, and they was like, well, we don't know if he's committed to doing the film. He's like, I am committed. I've been working out, getting in shape. I was ready for this universe of Marvel. But that was it. Yeah, he wrote a whole movie for Hulk. But it wasn't Planet Hulk. His movie wasn't Planet Hulk for it. See, the thing is, Edward Norton has a bad temper. And he used to beat the hell out of Salma Hayek when he was dating her. And that was another bad sign when they was in a relationship. He would pull her hair and yell at her all the time and tell her to put her tits away and all kind of stuff. He was... Edward Norton is something else. So her friends was all mad at her, telling her, you need to leave Edward. You need to leave Edward. So she finally got the courage to leave Edward Norton. But Edward Norton he's crazy. He was with her for years. Oh yeah, you guys probably don't know a lot of this stuff. But it's highly documented, you know, and his temper and all the stuff he do and did. But he's an outstanding actor. He's just troubled. He gets into it with everybody on a set. And he don't really get the respect he deserved. Like, he had one of the best performances in Birdman. So that was the when Birdman won Best Picture. It was a good way. It was better directed than it was actually acted. I think Edward Norton's performance way light years above Michael Keaton. But this way, all of these guys got an Oscar. So there you have it. Birdman is weird. The whole shooting of the movie makes it look like it was all shot in one take. The way they did the camera, like the whole movie was shot in one take. And all of it is based on a stage performance of an actor who basically was this is basically the Robert Downey Jr. story. You know, he got stuck playing this Marvel character for years, the Birdman, and people like, dude, when are we gonna see Birdman 3? You know, like, and he doesn't want to be typecast as the Birdman. He keeps trying to escape that character. And he's like, no, you are the Birdman. That's who you are. And he's like, no, I'm not. I need to be able to act. So he goes on stage and does this play. And the people like this critics are like, oh, I'm not going to fall for this. Hollywood actor comes back to the theater to try to boost, you know, get everybody to write good about them and they can go back to Hollywood and do a big major film. You're not serious about the theatrical performances. You're not through. So this one critic, he wants to prove that, no, I am taking this serious. This is what I'm doing. I'm not trying to do this to launch no career, no mega comeback and all this. And it could have been Michael Keaton's career too. It's basically Robert Downey Jr. and Michael Keaton really playing his life story because he was Batman in 1 and 2. And then he turned down Batman, the third one, so he could do the movie Multiplicity, which flopped. I like Multiplicity. It just flopped. But he didn't want to get typecast into playing Batman all the time. He wanted to do something else. He was the star in Birdman. Yeah, so it's basically him telling his own life story. Because his career kind of went into the like no man's land after that. Warner Brothers was still kind of upset that he did Multiplicity. I liked that movie. It was funny, but it wasn't going to bring in the Batman money and it flopped. Well, yeah, he did White Noise and I liked White Noise. To me, it wasn't that bad. It was just very cheap. And Keaton was doing a whole bunch of flops at that time. Movies was just flopping left and right. 2005 Fantastic Four was good. Yeah, it was. And the Silver Surfer wasn't great, but it was better than that last one they just put out. But now they're doing a Doctor Doom movie where he's going to have his own film. So that would make 3 movies Doctor Doom has been in already. And this will be 4th. He is starting his own. And I'm like, no, Jessica Alba, she can't act. Tell me something I didn't know. But she really improved when she did the Sin City 2. When she had her scene. And that's when she shocked everybody that was there. They were like, whoa, she must be going through something. Because she really brought it for this movie. Oh, I like the guy that played in Nip Tuck, who played Doctor Doom in the first one. I thought he was great as Doctor Doom. Well, see, that's the thing about her is that she wants to be passed off as Hispanic. She loves her Hispanic roots. So when she put in a DNA test and it came back, she's like 80 something percent Caucasian. She lost her mind on the show. See, that's the problem with Fantastic Four is that they're scared to go into any of the other villains. They keep sticking with Doctor Doom. When they redid this one, I'm like, how many? You gonna just tell us the same one we've already just seen? Give us a new villain. Give us something else. Doctor Doom isn't the only guy they fought. Doctor Doom has been in all three of the Fantastic Four movies. And now, and that was the problem with the Silver Surfer one. I'm like, here it is, the Silver Surfer, it comes, they're bringing this new entity, and they end up fighting Doctor Doom again. It's like, what in the world? And did you notice that Doctor Strange was the same film as the Silver Surfer Fantastic Four? The Seeker of Worlds. He's coming to take this world. He's coming to take the world, the Destroyer. Doctor Strange, the Zealots. Dormammu. Rise of the Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange. Then you remember Rise of the Silver Surfer? Who was coming to destroy the planets? Silver Surfer was the guy he sends out there to go survey everything. Galactus, right? What's the difference between Galactus and Dormammu? The same thing. Yes, they were very important, but Thanos kills them the moment his feet touch the ground on Earth. He killed the Fantastic Four first. They were the first ones to get it. Yes. That's gonna be my new video I'm doing. You just named it. Movies that need to stop being made. Terminator is one. Stop. Right now. Please. You have damaged the whole films forever. Matrix is the next one. I'm gonna go in there and tell them it's gonna be a lot of films that's probably gonna shock you. I'll be like, they should have stopped. Because what it does is it messes up the storyline. The last Terminator that came out was so screwed up. People were like, what? They have screwed up the entire first movie. Now we're like, we don't know what's going on. Like, oh yeah, the one that you sent that came back, the first guy, yeah, we been killed him. We're like, huh? Then you got this guy who's unexplained what part of the future or who sent him. Now they got to destroy how they then turned him into a robot, her son. And it was ridiculous. No more Valerian movies. The thing is, Valerian's gonna make a lot of money overseas. It's not gonna make no money here because it's a French comic book, and in France, the director, the guy who made it, Luc Besson, he's French, so he read this comic as a kid, so he was able to get the money over from overseas and using these equity funds to make this big major budget film, 200 million. Now people here don't know who these characters are. So they're like, I'm not going to see this. And it wasn't even promoted right. The trailer don't show you really too much of anything that's engaging to make you want to see it. So any little bit of money they make here is okay with them. So they might get a sequel just because the French going to buy this movie up. Over its international money might hit 300 million. I saw her getting killed, but everything had to be done so quickly because here's the problem that they're having with Power. And I'm going to let y'all know right here before I do it on my other video. But here's the problem that they're having with Power. It's not enough episodes. They push for Stars to give them 12 episodes. Stars told them no. I can't believe it. Why did you? Oh, yeah, I love Chappie, even though most people didn't. I loved it. Stars said no because they're stupid. They're thinking, okay, that's more money we got to pay out. It's like this is the biggest show your network has ever had. That's a no-brainer. You put Power on like 4 of your stations. It's on Stars 1, 2, and 3, and 4. It be running on like all night. Power, 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 power. And people watch it. And I'm like, you got the biggest see, Stars, their revenue comes from 63% African American. 63% of black people watch Encore and Stars. 63%. So they movies, like normally, you know, they put like on Encore, they put most of their black films on there. And mostly Stars is now trying to do it on their main one. Because see, Encore was like the bootleg to Stars. Like they're like, nah, you're going to be our ghetto package and Stars will be, you know, we'll put some of our A-list. Now, since they got this on, they're like, look, this show is killing it. We got to keep Power on here. Because it's got all the blacks coming over the Stars. And they getting a subscription on. That's why the people start downloading the app. Wasn't nobody downloading Stars app until Power came out. Power this season got everybody downloading the app. So that they could see those episodes early. Now, here's the major fallout and the blowback of the situation. The blowback is they wanted to tell the story and had it play out. That's why the last episode, you saw so much going on in the last episode. It smashed everything together. They had to kill Jukebox earlier than they wanted to. They had to go right back to the plan of the kidnapping and then get that all cleaned up and out the way. You got Tommy, his situation was going on because they needed more time to let these things layer out. But now everything had to be condensed and you just got a real big smorgasbord of an episode, and that's the 6th. They only got 4 more episodes now. So imagine how the next 4 are going to be. They're going to be jam-packed. Like, I can deal with all this. I know how to digest it. A lot of people are going to be, it's too much for them to follow. The average human being, it's going to be too much for them to follow. And there's a lot of average human beings watching television. Because if you ask them about certain things that happened last week, they'd be, oh, yeah, that's right, because Tommy did do that. Yeah, and they did do that scene there. And why he hit that guy with a bat? What was that about again? Because, see, they forgotten about it. It wasn't bad storytelling. The storytelling had to be condensed because they don't have the episodes to tell it. They were just asking for 2 more episodes. They were like, let's go to 12 instead of 10. Star said no. That's why 50 Cent is talking about moving the show. But we almost did 2 hours here straight. I'm going to go in here and get something to eat and get ready to go. It's been fun. We'll come back and do this again. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. I'm out.